injured in an accident, one thing leads to another. Your injury leads to treatment. Treatment leads to hospital bills. Bills lead to debt. Debt leads to stress. The advocates can help relieve that stress. Having an advocate attorney on your side leads to faster resolutions, fair outcomes, and a peaceful recovery for you. You deserve an advocate.
This is The Monty Show, the truth in sports talk streaming. When you want unbiased opinions about your favorite team without the spin, all you have to do is find The Monty Show, streaming live and available 24 hours a day, 7 days a week on YouTube. And now, here's Monty.
Hey, The Monty Show, Tuesday, January 6th, 2025. Good Tuesday to you. 2026. I've said that twice now on the show, obviously, and I still cannot believe it's 2026. As always, we are presented by the Advocates at theadvocates.com. And listen, you want to talk about prosperity, doing it right, getting it right? That's the Advocates every time, because the Advocates have fought the fight that you need to fight. They've won the fight that you're about to fight with your insurance company. You don't need to worry about that. Hand the claims process over to the Advocates at theadvocates.com. Let them fight your insurance company so you can get back to the best version of yourself for you and your family. That's what it's really all about, right? Clear, risk-free advice when you've been in a car accident, when you had a slip and fall, when you got hurt at work. Yes, your boss is great. He says he's going to pay you your benefits. Your job will be there. Or will it? Don't take the risk. And the best part about the Advocates is when you go to the Advocates, if you don't have a case, they're going to tell you straight away, hey, you know what? Your boss is doing this right. The insurance company is handling this right. Because ultimately, at the end of the day, you don't pay the Advocates unless and until they win your case. So get them 24/7, 365. That clear, risk-free advice is available to you when you need it, where you need it, and how you need it at theadvocates.com. Make sure you tell them you heard about it on the Monty Show. Who's first in this morning here as we get ready to talk big money? Oh, look at that. Spots Woody Y2X. Puffy Vest 2 Shakes and King Marty. Hello. That's right, King Marty. Oh, the big Lubbock. We're going to talk about you today, boy. Hope Venezuela's treating you well. Cam Coleman. What? Oil money, boy. It's Texas. Again, you guys, you have to understand, okay? I watch Landman. I know the oil business.
All business.
My bad. Yeah, I said oil. I know the oil business in Fort Worth. Anyway, the point is, good to see you. Cam Coleman's an interesting discussion. I was reading an article, and I want to say it was at On 3 or 247. Cam Coleman is quite the discussion. And what we're focused on today for our lead is this conversation around, I don't know, Cody Campbell, Texas Tech, the money, the whole thing. Like, is Texas Tech spending money destroying college football? Because that's what people are going to tell you. That's what the narrative is. The national media is picking up on it as though somehow it's a bad thing that money is being spent. I saw a thing yesterday that just infuriated me because I am a big believer. I'm a big believer that when you are rich, people hate you simply for the very fact that they don't have what you have. That's Texas Tech, right? I saw this yesterday on the old X machine, Twitter. People comparing Texas Tech to the Pony Express, the old SMU money bag guy thing. And it's really because you can't do what Cody Campbell and the All Boys of West Texas are doing. And unbelievably, all kidding aside, the guys in Fort Worth aren't doing this. The guys in Waco aren't doing this. The guys in Austin are doing this. But how is little old West Texas, Lubbock, Tortilla Town, baby? How is Texas Tech competing with with the University of Texas? Well, first of all, they're competing very well. But the how is what you should care about. They're using their assets to win college football and basketball games and college softball games. And I think every other competition that you can compete in. Why is that a bad thing in this current incarnation? I have failed to understand this. And as we talk about the core value here, one thing I would remind you of is this idea in this country today in 2026 that we continue to shame the rich. We continue to do it. And do some rich people deserve to be shamed? Yes, Jake deserves to be shamed for wearing such a low quality vest.
Every day.
I'm down with that.
The commitment every day.
Every day.
Yes.
But just because somebody is of wealth, just because somebody is a billionaire or 100 millionaire or a millionaire or a six-figure heir, and you're not, does not mean that they're doing it wrong or that they're somehow a bad person. Yet here we are criticizing Texas Tech, somehow making Texas Tech out to be the villain. And Jake, I don't see it.
Yeah, I mean, I think that people are frustrated and feel like, because again, like the whole, Najee Kennedy thing in softball, this pitcher that you paid $1 million to go and win you a national championship and things like that. That was very much like uncharted territory for the sport of softball, right? And I feel like that's where, the word to me is resentment comes in. People, I remember when that went down, people were saying, oh, well, they're doing backdoor deals and they're doing, shady things to get the best players. And I think what's inconvenient about that argument is that again, like, isn't that the time we're in? I mean, are we not in a time where it's like, hey, in order to get the best players, you have to be willing to constantly be hunting for the best players. You have to have people on your staff and involved in the program that in an official or unofficial capacity that are willing to go out and get in contact and build the relationships and get it to a place where you can then offer up all the money you have sitting there. Because that's what I think people don't understand is like, you can't just go to a kid randomly that you've never talked to and you've never had any communication with them and be like, here's $1 million check, just come play for us. Like kids, that's not how the world works. Like kids are not just going to do that. Like they want to talk to you. They want to understand the facilities. Like look at what went down, in recruiting for Sorsby and some of these other guys. Like obviously, there's that's part of the conversation. Obviously location, like there's a whole bunch of things that go into it, but having the money as the baseline, obviously helps. And so I just don't think that we should be vilifying Texas Tech. We should be vilifying the Baylors of the world and the Oklahoma States of the world and anybody else who's unwilling to get money together. Because every program has boosters. Every program has people who are involved in renewable energy and and oil and
money and
other things. Like everyone's got that guy. Everyone has
them big windmill things killing all our bald eagles.
Yeah, like whether you're into battery-powered cars or pulling oil out of the ground or, whatever scheme you're pushing to make your money, like everyone's got a guy like that in their program. And that's what's frustrating. And if you don't, then you shouldn't even be talking. If you don't have the money to compete, then why are you complaining? If you don't have the resources to compete, then you also shouldn't have the opportunity to then criticize those who have figured out how to have the money. Because nobody's criticizing Ohio State. No one's criticizing Texas or Bama or Georgia or LSU. Or notice nobody criticized LSU for going after Lane Kiffin. Everybody criticized Lane Kiffin for going to LSU. Like, it's just, we just like to make a convenient argument to make ourselves feel better if we don't like what some of these programs are doing. But I think that in a time when the Big 12 is losing head coaches and talent left and right, I think it's kind of silly to be like, oh, well, Texas Tech is doing it the wrong way. And by the way, it's also really dumb, in my opinion, to be comparing today's college football to the 80s. I mean, are we going to do this with every single thing on the planet? Are we going to start comparing,
certainly.
quality of material that the football is made out of now versus in the 80s?
Absolutely.
Like,
I think
that,
nuts, but that's who we are. And again, I think, listen, Texas Tech fan, you have to do what you have to do to land your recruits. And listen, I totally understand. What, Jake?
Hugh Janus.
This is not what you're doing for Alabama and Oregon?
Nope.
But isn't this right here what makes the transfer portal great? And I say this half jokingly. You have some guy named Girthquake who inexplicably is going to Buc-ee's and doing bad things with a burrito.
Length and girth.
And
Girthquake,
lack meftwich, you will be following through. To which Girthquake says, "My pleasure." But that's what this game's about, my friends. It's that kind of tomfoolery.
Mm-hmm.
It's that kind of fun. It's that kind of engagement. We've never had that before. It was always bagmen at airports, and this like the SMU thing. Do you guys understand that the SMU scandal started with dudes handing out $20 bills? You understand that, right? In the 70s and 80s, they were handing out $20 bills allegedly. Today, we don't do that. We just put up billboards at Times Square.
Just saying.
And we pay it. This is legitimately a billboard in Times Square for Lubbock, Texas Tech, Brendan effing Sorsby. Brendan in Sorsby gets a billboard. That's $1 million on its own.
Who the fuck is that guy?
But this is the cost of doing business, right? This is the cost of doing business. Quarterbacks are $1 to $4 million. Well, according to alleged reports, Texas Tech is paying Brendan Sorsby $5 million to be their quarterback. Didn't even have a conversation with Sam Levitt.
Yeah, because Sam wasn't interested, right? I don't think Sam was genuinely interested in Texas Tech, and that's the other side of the conversation. As far as
you really don't think he?
I think Sam
where else
Levitt
would you be interested?
The SEC. I think Sam Levitt understands that he was coveted, and people can see how his game would translate to the SEC. I think that Sam Levitt does a wonderful job of scrambling and creating chaos as a quarterback.
Chaos.
And that's the SEC's bread and butter as far as quarterbacks are concerned. I think that sure, Texas Tech was on the radar. Sure. They were on the list, but to me, it's clear that guys like Sam Levitt, who have the SEC in mind and, just have this kind of game plan for themselves to get to the NFL draft. Again, if you can go to LSU, why would you go to Texas Tech? If you can go to Bama, why would you go to the Big 12? That's the other problem.
My friend, I completely disagree.
Well,
what's wrong with Texas Tech?
They don't win in the CFP. That's what's wrong. They haven't had enough opportunities.
They haven't won in the CFP.
It's the same thing so far. It's the same thing. If you haven't won or you don't, right?
You just went for the first time. You are clearly the most dominant program in the Big 12. It's not a conversation. You are spending the requisite money. If Sorsby, Mr. $1 Million Bra, was their quarterback this past season, they probably win in the CFP.
Mm-hmm.
With all due respect. And I mean, all the respect that is due to Barron.
I agree with that. And actually, not to cut you off, I think the masses agree with that as well.
Yeah. And I think when you look at Texas Tech, facilities are not on par with what we have in Austin, but it's coming. You're not going to ever have what you have in the SEC, in my opinion, because they're facilities wise. But these kids, I am convinced these kids don't care about facilities. It's so far, and I always try to tell TCU horny James this, but And the Seaman Demon disagrees with me when we talk about it. Facilities are down the list. Who am I, Bronco Mendenhall? Facilities are fifth. Like,
I agree
it's
that
not
they're down the
something where-
list. It matters, though. They're a factor. I think if you and I'll also preface this by saying it's less of a factor in college football. I can tell you personally, from personal experience, it is a huge factor in secondary sports. Like,
right, but we're
know,
talking about a completely different financial conversation at that point.
I agree with that. I agree with that. That's what I'm saying. In college football, it's not as big a deal because I feel like there's sort of this bar now of like, you know, BYU kind of went through this 10 years ago. Like we've seen a lot of programs kind of go through the renaissance of like, hey, we need to create marketing videos around this or that. Like see Kansas right now. Like there's a lot of examples of it, but the facilities piece is kids are not deciding what school to go to just based on facilities.
No, they're not.
I think
it's not in football.
Not in football. No, I mean, I think that what kids do is they say, okay, well, I'm Sam Levitt, and I know that I got to have a huge year this year. So what are the ingredients to cook up a big year? Well, I need to be in the CFP. That's number one. I need to be a quarterback that gets to the CFP and is playing on the national stage.
So I'm going to Ohio State.
Mm-hmm.
I'm going to Indiana now.
Mm-hmm.
Indiana's facilities are not even top 100 in the country.
And Sig has talked about that when he got there, their facilities were trash and he had to force them to improve.
Yeah, and they have not improved yet. They're in the process. But you're going to Ohio State, absolutely.
Mm-hmm.
You're going to Indiana. You're going to any of the top 7 programs in the SEC because they can all get there. And then what? Well, are you going to BYU? Are you going? Well, I want to have sex. Probably not going to BYU. Okay, Utah. Nah, probably not if I want to go to the CFP.
And the NFL as a quarterback.
Am I going to? Sure. Great. Excellent point. Am I going to? Well, you know what? Spike Dykes' kid in Fort Worth. I love Landman. You're not going to TCU.
But like that's a perfect example right there. What does it say about TCU that bro left? What does it say that Josh Hoover is now in the Big Ten? What is that? Like, that's not a good look. Like, and this is not the first time for the Big 12, right? Josh Hoover is Will Howard 2.0. Like, don't make no mistake about it, bro. And I just really struggle with this concept of again, the Big 12 is in this spot where Texas Tech is doing everything that they can do, spending all this money, getting billboards. Cody Campbell's putting out marketing materials and making videos and doing all this great stuff. And again, more power to him. Knock yourself out, bro. You want to, like, great, do it. But that doesn't change.
But Jake, look at the video he put out because
this was from December 5th, by the way.
Yeah, I like Cody Campbell. I do. I like Cody Campbell. And Jake, I need you to play that video because, of course, why would my video tray be working? I like Cody Campbell. This to me is turn off too strong. I don't love this from Cody Campbell.
It's a good thing for the social fabric of our country. Football is the most American sport that exists. It celebrates meritocracy. It celebrates masculinity. It showcases what it is to be an American. It's a patriotic American sport, and we have to keep that. We can't let it go. People talk about culture as being like the opera or symphony or something, but the culture is college sports. It's college football.
I don't know how true that is. Is college football the fabric of America? It's not. Taking dictators out of countries for their oil. Never mind. The point is, college football is not the fabric of America. We have bigger fish to fry. Is it a tie that binds us? Yes. Is Cody Campbell making the argument that it's the fabric of America and that's why we need to spend $5 million on Brendan Sorsby? Yes. Yes. Why? And again, I'm just going to go back to this. Why is it a problem to say I want to win every rep that we play, so I got to have better players? And to get better players, I got to pay Brendan Sorsby $5 million. Because that's what it is. This isn't the fabric of America BS. That's not what this is. College football is not the fabric of America. I wish I could tell you it was mom, dad, pounding like porn stars, kicking out little babies who want puppies, and they have to put a fence in the front yard of their 3-bedroom, 2-bath home in suburban Chicago. That's $210,000. We all know that's a lie, right? Like, I don't know what the fabric of America is in 2026. It ain't college football.
Mm-hmm.
I can tell you that.
Yeah,
and I
just
respect
think
Cody Campbell's effort, and I respect what Cody Campbell's built for himself in his life. Come on. We're talking about college football here.
Yeah, and what we're really talking about as far as Cody Campbell is concerned is a business expense. I mean that's all this is. And I think that people who are not educated around how money can flow through a business and how he's actually using all this money he's donating and I'm not saying that the guy has ill will. That's not my point. My point, though, is that I think that he wants to characterize the NIL/portal efforts of Texas Tech as hey, this is America's sport, and this is, man, we're doing this for the people. And it's like, dude, it's not. Just it's okay to just say, yeah, you know what, like I'm a Texas Tech guy. That's my team, obviously alumni. Okay, great, dude, you're supporting your program, love it, awesome, but let's not sugarcoat this or turn it into a bigger thing than it is. And again, I will just keep saying, if you had 5 to 7 schools out of the Big 12 who were doing what Tech was doing, nobody would be complaining. But you don't. You have Texas Tech, and then you've got BYU, who is incredibly private about what they do, except for when they land new players. And so we just get to connect
all
dots
about what happens on the floor and on the field.
Yeah. Yeah. And so it's you just get to draw conclusions because you got Debanza.
But to your point, BYU and Texas Tech, and clearly Texas Tech's in a better spot thanks to Sex at Utah and Manischewitz, but that's a different day. My point is Texas Tech and BYU are doing what everybody should be doing. But they're not. And my whole point in this, and we got to get to the comment section on this, because I want your opinion. Is Texas Tech doing something wrong? Because I'll fight you to the death and say they are not. There's nothing wrong with what Cody Campbell and Texas Tech are doing.
Yeah, you want to talk about the fabric of America? The fabric of America is capitalism. We've been that way for, basically our entire existence.
Correct.
Hey, who's making a buck? How we paying rent? How we meeting, how we making ends meet? How we finding success? That's our culture. That's how we operate in this country. And
correct.
And again, I'm not going to sit here and put the guy on trial for spending millions of dollars to make Texas Tech athletics better. But what I will say is that people, when you start spending money and you start moving like this and you start operating at this level as a businessman inside of college athletics, of course, people are going to start asking questions. Again, I have to say, Texas Tech football wasn't also ran in the Big 12. Nobody cared about you. Nobody paid attention. You were not good. The last time you were relevant was when Mahomes was there. You can fast forward to the head coach that I can't remember his name, Cliffy. There were, blips on the radar, but it's not like you were some Big 12 juggernaut. He has brought you back to relevance through getting talent.
Don't spin it. Texas Tech has been largely irrelevant for the last 20 years. You've had some problems with kids being locked in Connex boxes. And anyway, the point is,
Go play intramurals, brother.
The point is, the very fact that Brendan Sorsby called Cody Campbell and called Patrick Mahomes to let them know he was going to be in Lubbock next year is remarkable in and of itself. It's remarkable. That used to be an NCAA violation of the highest order. Texas Tech is the bar. You got to raise your bar. Because I know that last time I said this before we went on winter break and people got all upset. This is a dying conference now. Understand it, digest it, accept it. The Big 12's a dying conference in football. You're irrelevant outside of Provo, Utah, and Lubbock, Texas. You're irrelevant in Waco. You're irrelevant in Stillwater. You're irrelevant in Fort Worth, Cincinnati, Morgantown,
Lawrence,
Manhattan. You're irrelevant. You can go around this conference. You mean quite literally, you have zero impact day to day on the inner workings at the highest level of college athletics, unless you are Cody Campbell and my favorite guy at Qualtrics, whose name I struggle to ever want to say.
You got anything to say? Quite frankly, fuck you.
Yeah, yeah, it's fine. BYU and Texas Tech are the dogs in this conference.
Yep.
And there's nothing wrong with that because it's what makes Austin Davis the newest member of the Monty Show.
Nice job.
Professional.
Yes, that was a professional transition and such as in like.
Appreciate you guys. All of you who join the membership, all of you who support this show on a daily, weekly, monthly basis. It makes all the difference in the world. Really appreciate that. Please make sure you hit the like button as you watch the show. And let's get into the comments section. Let's see. Who we sporting today besides Puffy Vest guy? Mike Smith, it's Tuesday. Hit that like button like it's Jake Paul's jaw. I hate Jake Paul so much. No, Jeremiah. Sorry, buddy.
No, and that's actually not true, dude. You were unfortunately not the first one in.
The lie detector test determined that was a lie.
Yeah, that was a lie. 2025. I slept in reverse. Okay, Ron. Matt Ritson, hello. Yeah, okay, you own it, and I appreciate that. Mike Smith, Texas Tech is just doing what the SEC has been doing for years. Now it's allowed and out in the open. Everybody BYU had a bag man allegedly. I do appreciate the red assery of this comment. Well, that the SEC was cheating for years.
The victimhood of this comment.
Alpha Buckeye, hello. We know what party shames the rich. Well, the Republicans need to change that. It has to happen. Oh, look at that. TCU James.
Hi. Hey. Good morning, James. No. Guys. So you finally admit that facilities play a shart in getting recruits.
Yeah, no, actually, that's not what we said, dude. No,
facilities
that's not what we said.
Are like I quite literally said facilities are like fifth on the list. If you don't have a suitcase full of Benjis, don't even talk to me about your facilities. Jeremiah, I just don't understand why it's okay for blue bloods to do this, but not Texas Tech. Totally agree.
Because it's not that it's not okay. It's more, I really believe it's more just the optics. Like the blue bloods have been doing this for years and they're not out front about it. They're just getting the kids there. It's just part of their process. It's
that you're a new boy.
Yeah.
It's that you're a new
kid on the block. So of course you're going to take the flack. Of course, you're going to have to wear it a little bit. You're going to have to explain yourself. It's just part of the process. And I will say, like, I do think that getting Sorsby was a big upgrade for them. The guy is capable. Like, if he did what he did at Cincinnati in a incredibly flash in the pan season, in my opinion, based on a soft ass schedule, he can do that at Texas Tech. They will coach him up. They will develop him. He will be better than Baron Morton ever was.
I think Sorsby's a hell of a player. I think the Cam Coleman thing, if Texas Tech gets Cam Coleman, now you're cooking with gas. That's a kid who at Auburn was a dominant performer. And it would be concerning to me if I were a fan of Texas Tech. That video that came out the other day of Cam Coleman being absolutely awestruck by all the trophies at Texas. If he does not go to Texas, Cam Coleman, after, I want to say, and I could be wrong, I believe that he may have leaked some DNA while staring at those trophies. Like, Have you guys
start stroking guys?
Yeah, have you guys seen the video that I'm talking about where he's like, "Oh, bro. Oh my God. Oh, yeah." Like he was.
You just have to start stroking guys.
He's walking around Texas just absolutely in awe.
I think I've hit it every time.
And there's like there's these floating shelves with all the trophies on it. And he's like, "Oh my God."
Biologics.
It was amazing how in awe he was. If he does not sign for Texas after that situation, I would be amazing. That would be. Oh, looky here. The eye patch, one of the most savagery, not nice people that is in the comment section. Good to see you. Dylan Raiola fell to his knees at Walmart when he when he heard the news. I retweeted it today. There was a McConaughey. I don't even remember the name of that overrated POS movie.
Interstellar.
There you go. Interstellar. Oh, behind the bookcase where he's looking at his daughter and he's yelling through his spacesuit. And somebody's like, yeah, Dylan Raiola when he sees the sores being so good. So good. So good. Good morning, y'all. That good internet is looking nice on you today, Monty. Thank you.
Don't get us started on whatever that was.
And there's the blink. A lot of people yesterday asked me about the blink and what happened. I have rocket ship type internet speed. I'm almost at 1,000. Yeah, we use a platform called StreamYard, and it's enough to make your brain shrink, which clearly has happened to Jake with that vest.
Oh,
so
no.
Depends on how many crumble cookie franchises they give me. Well, that's very true. God, that's never going to die. Half of UNT is going to Oak State. Oak State might win a game this year.
Well, man. I mean, their facilities are so much better, so obviously that's going to equate to a win.
Yeah, they don't have any fans left.
No.
T-Boone's not going to have anybody in it. At least not from Okie Light.
No.
But that's fine. Noted TCU homer, James.
Guys. TCU just hired a new orgasm coordinator.
Curator
of the orgasms. Anyway, they're going to run the ball more. I mean, when they run those balls, boys, Hoover isn't a good fit for their offense.
Shut the fuck up, Donnie.
Yeah, he left because they're trying to run the ball more. Doubt it. No, he left because he wanted to actually win a ball game at some point.
It stopped spinning. Yeah, Hoover did not leave to the big because they were going to run the ball more. Exactly. David Persons, a real TCU fan, not somebody hiding behind their former crappy football team. Kendall Briles was a little too how much the one-dimensional for TCU. Well, there's a lot of that. I am incredibly disappointed in Sonny Dykes. I am incredibly disappointed in TCU football. And Josh Hoover's a guy that is a prolific thrower of the football. If you have Josh Hoover as your quarterback, and this is what I think a lot of, because I've seen this argument a lot. And what the short-sighted fanatic is going to tell you is, well, with all due respect to
Oak State James.
You have a prolific thrower of the football.
With all due respect.
Why don't you build an offense around him?
All due respect.
Wait. Are you saying that if you want to win, you create an offense to play to the strengths of your current roster? No. We're going to run the football. Let the thrower leave. Who needs to throw the ball? Throw the ball?
He's a bum.
What? Yeah. You should try it at TCU. Oh, yeah. You should build an offense around your best players. That's how you win.
I'm going to say this again.
Now, I can use my own club at Notre Dame. We did not do that in the first 3 weeks. And what happened? We lost 2 of our first 3 games. I could use Texas with Arch. He had an offense built for him, and he didn't execute it. They lost games.
Well, that's the issue, isn't it?
Oh, and then he started running. He became a real quarterback who understood he has to operate inside of a system. And then it was Pete Kwiatkowski's fault. You have to build an offense, and the player has to execute inside of that offense. See Bryce Underwood, who didn't execute the offense that was built because it was built for somebody other than him. So we can sit here and we can fantasize that, oh, well, they're going to run the ball. Josh Hoover didn't want to do that.
Oh, wait, sorry. This sounds vaguely familiar to another situation. Maybe I'm confused, but it sounds like something K-State fan would say about Will Howard. Oh, well, he just wasn't good. You know, we had to move on to Goldilocks, so you can get the hell out of here. Go on to the Big Ten. We don't need you. That just sounds vaguely familiar, dude. Meanwhile, here we are again, and Goldilocks is coming back to Manhattan, and you're sitting here trying to tell me that Josh Hoover's going to Indiana to go to the NFL, and he did that because they want to run the ball more, even though Indiana is one of the best running teams in the country. Come on, dude.
Not going to happen.
Like,
Chewy Gonzalez, good to see you, Chewy. I don't want to talk about the Lakers. JJ Redick. No, you're not going to ruin my day.
I don't want to go on a rant about how LeBron James decides what nights he's going to show up and what nights he's not going to show up.
And if it is true that you could have traded Austin Reeves for Keontae George last year, and you said no, I don't even want to talk about it.
Why would you trade Austin Reeves when him and Luka have a great relationship at this point for Keontae George, who, albeit, is having a good season, but he's not Austin Reeves.
Walker Kessler was.
Yeah, but
if Keontae George and Walker Kessler were on this team, and stupid guy who can't catch the basketball in the post wasn't, this is a completely different. Keontae George, and I don't know how. Do you guys even know who Keontae George is? You probably don't. He is arguably the best young guard in the league right now. He is unbelievable. I didn't know. I'm not playing your stupid little game here, Chewy. Is Jake at a WeWork office? What's the deal with the chic wall design? He's talking about chic shoes. Bro. Jake.
Yeah, I know. Chic shoes. I know.
Yeah. Chic shoes.
Yeah.
Which, you know, Jake's background is a work in progress.
Mm-hmm.
He's not hip and cool like me. Mm-hmm. So he doesn't have the.
There's only one plaque, and I don't have a sign yet, which we're working on.
And stuff.
Yeah.
You know, it's fine. Sergeant Green, hello. Anyone else notice how Seaman Demon complains all day yesterday about the time change, yet he's still here? And we appreciate the Seaman Demon.
Where have we heard this before?
Right? BYU never had a bag man. That's expressly forbidden in the honor code.
No, man.
Exactly right. They just hide the money and crumble cookies.
Retzloff redefined what a bag man was.
Eric and Durham. Is college football bad for college football? But, okay, this is an interesting question. Honest to goodness. College football, you guys, I want you to know something. College football is a dying sport. Like my watch. We got to talk about Apple Watch bands because I went to Harrods in London and bought like a $7 million watch band for my Apple Watch, and I love it. But back to Eric and Poughkeepsie's point. You guys know that college football is dying, right? Like it's dead. It's over. We're just on the clock waiting for them to turn off the ventilator.
The ventilator.
That's
nobody's watching.
A year.
Nobody's watching. Cody Campbell.
It was really all
Cody
about the
Campbell
bowl
and
games
his
too. You know,
yeah, I mean, Cody Campbell's ruined the sport now because of his oil money and all those tortillas. Just really pissed off America, and nobody's watching college football.
Oh.
Wait, I got to take this down. Jake, can you make sure those? You got to get the right.
There's some kind of listen, I know that the screen is blinking black a lot, but I'm trying to look through that to see that it says that 23.9 million people watched Indiana put belt to ass on Alabama and Ty Simpson cry like a little girl on the bench.
No,
dude.
You will never go
Awful.
Michael Irvin out. You will never go Coke Nose on this show. Do not ever. Oh, belt to ass, boy.
Program.
No, Michael Irvin.
Coke Nose.
There's some wild shit going on right now.
Dude, that was a dominant performance, bro.
Anyway, here are the numbers. I don't know how ESPN stays in business with 25.6 million viewers watching a single game, or 21.6 million viewers, or 21.4, or 19 million. Oh, just the oil money guy. Oh, that oil money's killing. I tell Monty, I got to tell you something, Monty. I watch Yellowstone. I don't know what that has to do with oil money, but
we really did.
15.9 million viewers, 19 million peaked to watch the oil money boys get wrecked by Oregon. Huh. Man, for a dying sport,
gosh.
My goodness.
Which is, just kind of weird.
Don't know how they do it, bro.
Because again, we'll go back and say, well, with this transfer portal, Monty, they can't keep a player. I have to burn my Sam Levitt jersey. Cool. You're going to turn on the game, though. No, I'm not. I'm boycotting it, Monty. Yeah,
sure.
No, you're a liar. You should shut the fuck up. Because
I'm not watching the game. I'm burning my jersey. This is ridiculous.
Yeah, you are. You're going to watch.
You, in fact, are not burning your jersey. You are watching the game, and you're going to have like a 10-pack of beer by the time this thing is over. We all know that.
Chewy says, ESPN picked the wrong horse in the SEC. They have a bad product. I mean, if this is picking the wrong horse, please tell me where the right horse is.
I should have gotten it.
Tell me where the right horse is so that I won't pick the right horse. Because if this is picking, listen, my friends, if this is picking the wrong horse, I want to be a loser. Because if this is what losing looks like, I'm all in on being a loser.
Yeah, and I should have got it.
Because that's a ton of people watching.
I love how the Joel Klatts of the world are like, oh, the CFP shouldn't be all on ESPN, and it's not good for the sport. Well, actually, dude, the numbers say it's really good for the sport. And you know why it's really good for the sport? Because everybody and their mom knows exactly where to find it. I would like to quickly revisit the canceling YouTube TV portion of the conversation as far as college football goes. So now that the NFL season is over and we're into the playoff portion, I'm now contemplating how long I'm going to keep YouTube TV, because I don't use it for anything other than watching the NFL when I need to. And I'm just sitting here saying, like, dude, while we were overseas, or while I'm on the go, like, the ESPN DTC product works perfectly. You open the app and the live feed just playing right there. No problem.
You mean DTF?
Yeah, yes. Well, it might as well be, considering how much I watch those games on ESPN.
But while in Europe, I was actually finally able to download a VPN, allegedly. Well, motherfucker. Now, you need oil money to have a NordVPN, allegedly. You hook up that NordVPN
It's amazing how good it works when you have good Wi-Fi overseas.
As an example, maybe if you're in London and you've, I don't know, somehow found a way to get a VPN on a MacBook Pro, and you flip over to ESPN.com and you tell them you're in Baltimore, and my God.
Dave. Wow.
I'm over here just giving, I just say things. Dude, it was incredible how instantly you download that thing, you hit, okay, let's turn it on.
Do I not get a thank you? No credit.
Up.
No credit.
Shut up. No, you don't. Okay, apologize to Aaron Rodgers, and I'll thank you.
Just take it nice and easy, okay? Just relax.
There's no need to go there. Monty.
Are we clear on that?
The first Marcus text of the year.
Oh, God, here we go. Well, Jake, what the hell is this background? You're not in your closet anymore? What's going on?
Dude, I'm starting to worry about your face. What happened to those 4 chins you used to rock? Thanks for that, Jerky.
Jesus, bro. Dude, why would you say that? Bro,
that's not nice, Marcus.
You need to read that. From now on, we're reading Marcus messages with the demon voice filter. That was terrible.
Hey, fat ass, let me ask you something.
I ate like a king. I didn't eat like, I don't really ever. I ate well in Europe, right? I lost 7.5 pounds on that trip.
Fat.
Now,
Walked a
again,
lot, dude.
yeah, we walked. What did I say yesterday? Over 50 miles. It was incredible how much we walked. But it is crazy to me to get home and step on that scale. I've lost almost 65 pounds on Zepbound since August. Since August 2nd. September, October, November, December, January. 5 months. I've lost just about 65 pounds. I'm at like 64.3, which is outrageous.
I'm a carb-eating motherfucker.
It is outrageous. Unbelievable. What do you mean? Who's ignoring the king? Is the king of Thailand here?
Yes.
God. I like StreamYards. It's a good platform, but you. I don't know. It's locked up for me a little. Okay, here we go. Why am I ignored? You're
Oh,
not
God.
ignored.
Dude, why are you doing this,
Like,
bro?
why?
You know how this
Too early
works,
in
bro.
the year.
God.
It's too early in the year.
You know how this works.
Shut the fuck up, Donnie.
Like, you know how this works. We've had this conversation, bro.
You're not being ignored.
Look, it's
The king of Thailand, live from Nam. Or I guess it would be Thailand. Anyway, the king of Thailand has made it to the show live from Thailand.
Like, you're not being ignored. I get a lot of comments. I used to use Surfshark, best VPN value, to watch Netflix movies that were not available in the US, but in the UK. And it's a real thing. It is a real thing. TCU James. Yes, Jake.
Oh, Jake, you were so right about that VPN.
Daddy.
Nice vest, puffer boy.
Okay. That's okay. I don't go to work until noon. What are you, a bouncer at a bar now?
Don't hold on. I'm going back to bed in a minute. Shut the hell up, dude. You are already. You're in bed watching the show. We know that.
Jake, I'm in bed. Oh, that vest.
Yeah,
Unzip
I know.
It a little. Oh, Jake, unzip that vest just a little.
You gotta get strokes.
Biologics.
Oh, biologics.
Biologics.
I'm a bad person. I am a bad person. We are jealous of your life in Thailand. Yes, we are. Use a freebie VPN like Pronto. Nah, dude, it's worth to pay for it. It's worth to pay for it. I work 12 p.m. to 8:30 p.m. on Tuesdays.
Okay, well, listen, your work life in the rectory is not of consequence to us, bro.
Venice Parade. Venice Parade.
Bro,
again.
How do we manifest these comments, dude? James, how do you do this every day, bro?
I don't know. I'd like to know. At least Jake has his tips out on the new wall design.
Okay,
Yeah,
I don't even want to know what the hell that means.
Oh, Jake, it's just the tip, boy.
Let's play a little game called Just the Tip.
Just the tip. Oh, yeah.
I think he means.
Hey, where's Dana Marie?
No, the
your
Walmart
other
manager.
burner.
He's having taco for breakfast. The Walmart manager's in town.
Yeah.
You guys are way too weird right now. What do you mean? I apologize for having fun. I do. All right, hour number 2 of the Monty Show, of the weird Monty Show. As always, presented by our friends at Bucked Up. Make sure you get your creatine monohydrate. Boy, did I miss the creatine in Europe. It makes a difference. It is wild to me that I feel like yesterday I took my creatine yesterday morning. I take it in like 3 to 5 ounces of water straight. My wife puts a little like lime flavoring into the cup, the creatine in water. I just drink it straight. It doesn't taste like anything, but I'm telling you, like 20 minutes after I took that, bro, I was ready to go. Like I feel an instant mental lift. And I know that's, unconfirmed phenomena. I buy into it. I think creatine is one of the most important supplements in your life. If you are not taking it, get to buckedup.com right now. Use the promo code Monty at checkout to get 20% off of creatine at buckedup.com. The best ingredients make the best supplements. That's why you go to Bucked Up at buckedup.com. Make sure you use the promo code Monty. Trust me, you use creatine, one container of creatine. Take 1 scoop of creatine every day, the same time. I do it every morning about 8 o'clock. Mrs. Monty rolls out of the crib for work. Right before she leaves, we drink our creatine water together. It's a way to be accountable. We work together on it. I'm telling you, if you will do that through just 1 container of creatine, watch how much better you feel, how much better your everything from mental, I think it makes a huge difference in digestion in my stomach. Like, I think it makes a huge difference. You'll feel better energy. You'll have better ability to think. If you're somebody who's always tired, like Oak State James, sleep until noon these days, apparently. Wake up at noon, pound your creatine. Trust me when I say it's a game changer. All of your supplements available right now at buckedup.com. Make sure you use the promo code Monty to get 20% off at checkout. I'm interested in what you guys think about the transfer portal, because I also think this is a big deal. As we talk about Texas Tech and whether they're good or bad, do you guys believe that the transfer portal is good or bad for college football? I think it is driving the news cycle. I think it's keeping more and more fans engaged. Jake, I think the transfer portal has been a revelation for college athletics.
Yeah, I mean, it's certainly changed it, and I think that we've seen mostly good things play out with it. I think we've had a few players who have made some poor decisions about leaving school to try to get to a better situation, and some of that's played out. But I think that's how it works with anything. There's going to be good and there's going to be bad. But I would agree that the transfer portal and the dynamics around it, like whether, as an example, if your head coach leaves or gets fired or whatever, that opens the portal for you. Like, some of those situational items I think are fascinating to watch, because again, it used to be in college football that coaches' reputations were pretty hard to tarnish unless there was scandal. But I think the way kids move in the portal, how they act on social media now, the way they go about it really is a big indictment or feather in a head coach's cap, depending on how his players feel and act. And I think, again, it's the same as it ever was, I guess, but the younger head coaches who are embracing modern day college football, I feel like do a really good job in the portal and understand it and use it. And that's why I think you see a lot of consistency as far as the CFP is concerned. You see, hey, like Ohio State's always getting dudes, like Texas is always getting dudes. Like there's always the usual suspects are in the portal doing what they need to do to make sure that they've always got the depth in the pipeline working. So I think the portal is great for college football. I think that there's always going to be the bad apple who makes a silly decision or totally a decision that they regret. And we can't allow those situations, those one-off opportunities to tarnish what the portal has become, because I do think it gives kids a lot more opportunity than they once had.
I think what's interesting is this idea that we wanted freedom. for these kids, right? Like we felt like there was oppression happening. We felt like it was one-sided and coaches were leaving and players. But it's always this net effect, the unintended consequences, where you have, what is it now, 4,700 kids in the portal? And you get these cries for, well, there needs to be guardrails. There doesn't. There doesn't. You have to understand at some point, if you want freedom, there are responsibilities that come with that freedom. Freedom has so much responsibility. You get into the portal, do you really think 4,700 kids are going to find new homes? Because what nobody ever talks about is the kids who never find a new home and either go back to where they are, they stay at their current school, or they don't play college football again. Because a lot of people don't seem to understand that happens more than it does not happen. The Sorsby $5 million deal is rare. Most kids who get in the portal, and Marcus and I were talking about this the other day, most kids who get in the portal don't find a new home. That's the harsh reality of it. What are the other unintended consequences? Devastation for the G5 in the FCS. We had a great FCS championship game. Nobody watched it. Nobody knew about it. And how many of those kids will now be in the portal today? A ton of them. A ton of them. It's devastating to the smaller school. It is devastating to the school that does not play the financial game that Texas Tech and BYU are playing, that the SEC is playing.
And I think we should verbalize that slightly different. Like, it's devastating to the school who's unwilling to commit to operating at a higher level.
Who's unable. Because I don't think, if you're Illinois State, who played for an FCS championship and lost, are you able to compete with the G5? No, you're not. Is the G5, anybody at the G5 level, Boise State, who lost their co-defensive coordinator to Michigan to be a safeties coach? You guys saw that, right? Kyle Whittingham hired the co-defensive coordinator from Boise and made him a safeties coach. Can Boise compete with Texas Tech? Absolutely not. Boise's never going to pay a quarterback $5 million. That's who it's devastating for, because you always have and it's not the 64th guy on the G5 roster. It's the top 25 guys at all the best G5 universities. Simple as that. And those G5 universities lose their head coaches and their coaching staffs. John Summerall. Does Tulane go to the college football playoff without Jake Retzloff? No, they don't. So can it work both ways? Yes. It almost never does. But that's the cost of freedom. When you tell people you can do whatever you want, they're going to do whatever they want. When you make decisions, and this is no different than your life or my life or a college football player's life. When you make a decision to say that untenable thing to your boss, you have the freedom to do that. Free speech, First Amendment, has consequences. Oh, but Monty, I can say whatever I want. Oh, sure you can. Yeah. Yes, you're drop N-bombs, call people stupid, do whatever it is you want to do. Just understand there are consequences to that. And when you get into the portal and you don't find a new home, there's a consequence for that. And I'm telling you, I'm all for it. I'm all for choices and consequences. And my opinion is that when we look at the transfer portal, I think it drives interest. I think it drives opportunity, and it makes kids money. And I think overwhelmingly, we should not be putting guardrails. We should not be putting limitations. We should not say, I was listening to a really bad podcast yesterday that I got 6 minutes into it. And I was like, nah, bro, I'm out.
Because it's garbage.
Terrible. On a major network, I would remind you, we should cap the transfer portal at 2,500 spots. Why? So that your internet speed's going to determine whether or not you can transfer? Are you out of your mind? Have you ever tried to buy a hotly high demand concert ticket in the 80s? I have. Do you know how many times I didn't go see Metallica because of this? Are you out of your mind? That you think we're just gonna nobody's standing in line at Carson Peary Scott for Ticketmaster. That we have the internet. We don't need to cap the portal at 2,500 kids. Like, why? Oh, Amani, we got to protect the kid. No, actually, you said you wanted these kids to have freedom. Now, because it's not working the way you wanted it to work, we need to protect the kids. That's not our job. That's not our job. Opportunity, when it's afforded to you, comes with risks. Decision-making comes with risks. I was talking to a business owner yesterday, and I said to him, what kind of year do you want 2026 to be for you? Do you want it to be the same thing that 23, 24, and 25 were? And this guy was telling me he's lost over $100,000 the last 3 years. And I said, do you want that to happen again in 2020? Well, you know I don't. And I said, well, then we got to do different things than you've done in 23, 24, 25, and 26. And that's the truth. We have to be bold. We have to be courageous. We have to make decisions. Those decisions have consequences, good and bad. Limiting the transfer portal to a certain number of kids is ridiculous.
Yeah, and I just think that it's the easy way out solution. It's like, oh, well, if we don't like all these kids getting in the portal, let's just put a glass ceiling on this thing and make kids make decisions. And then we're not going to want to talk about when, well, we're at 2,500 kids, but this kid here can't get in the portal even though he's got a legitimate case or she's got a legitimate case. Like,
bad cell service, Jake.
Yeah,
like,
bad.
Couldn't get.
It's just a ridiculous take. I mean, if anything, what we should be saying is we should be saying, okay, you can, you have 4 years of eligibility, right? So you can get in the portal a certain amount of times over those 4 years. You can get in the portal twice in 4 years, or whatever the number would be. I mean, that's also another discussion. But I just think that people, and this, I feel like this sounds like utopic almost, but people want to run from the accountability of getting in the portal. Like, if you're going to get in the portal and you never play another snap of football, that's on you, bro. That's not on anyone else. Like,
absolutely right.
You weren't committed enough. You weren't good enough. Like, whatever the situation was, man, that led to you having to get in the portal and there wasn't enough demand for you to even get on another roster. That's on you. That's not on the system. And we can't be scared to say that. And I understand everyone wants to focus on the Sorsbys of the world or the any of the top end talent that gets paid a ton of money through the portal and get into a new position. But it really is the mid tier to lower tier player that takes risk getting in the portal. And I just think that we can't be scared to say, like, hey, dude, if you chose to leave your team that you initially committed to and played a season with or whatever to try to get to greener pasture and that didn't work out for you, then that's on you. And again, let's Cody Campbell this thing. That's the fabric of our country. Oh, you made a decision and it didn't work out well for you. That's on you. How many times have we heard that in our lives? Nobody's coming to pay your rent, bro. Nobody's coming to fix it for you.
Nope.
Like that's the truth. And I just think that we want it to be like convenient. We want it to work well. And everybody's taken care of and every mouth is fed. And gosh, every Cinderella story in college football. Like, that's not how the world works, bro. That's not how college football works. That's not everyone's going to get taken care of. Not everyone's going to be in a perfect spot. Not everyone's going to be happy. And I will agree that the one downside to the portal, in my opinion, for a lot of kids is that they want to run from the coaching. They want to run from, hey, like, you're not doing a good enough job in this area and you don't like that that's the truth. So you're gonna hop in the portal to try to get to a coach who will let some of that stuff fly. And that's not on anyone else but you, man. And I just think that we can't be scared to say that, man. We can't be scared to, like, again, this is the vilifying kids who make a lot of money. Like, Brendan Sorsby, deserves what he's being paid. He played well enough and found himself in a position where he could go get paid. More power to him, bro.
You are worth what somebody's willing to pay you. And Marcus, I'm texting with Marcus, making a point. He makes a great point. I have to do this every day. These kids are professionals. And we don't want to say that. But these kids are professionals. That's who they are. It's what they do. They're college football players. And Brendan Sorsby just got paid $5 million. You know, like I struggle with this concept that you wanted to give these kids the ability to be free and to move. But now you don't like the way that turned out. Well, I'm sorry.
And there's no one winding the watch, bro.
Like, it's true. Absolutely
we
true.
We are not in a place where we can now roll all this back and, you know, uncut the red tape and put all these restrictions back on it.
Jay? You said uncut.
Like I feel like people want to be like, oh, well, now we tried it, but we don't like how it's working. So let's go back to the old system. No portal or limited portal or like, you know what I mean? Like, I don't know, man. I think that it just doesn't need to be this difficult. Like, the system is the system. Those who are thriving in the system are going to thrive. Those who are not need to learn how to thrive. And if you want to play from a victimhood standpoint, then that's on you, man. And I think that that's how life works. That's how college football works. And this is, again, we always go back to this, I feel like, but this is why Nick Saban left college football, because he understood the transfer portal was a get out of jail free card of sorts for certain kids who didn't want to take the coaching.
Yeah. All right, let's get it in the comment section. Chewy Gonzalez for $2. Jake's screen blacking out, sponsored by Ollie Gordon. Wow. Wow.
That's
not
cute.
Wrong.
I remember when I had my first beer.
Not wrong. At Chewy AC. Yeah. I don't think you cap the guys that run to the portal. I do believe, like the NFL, salary caps are set. And there's a lot of discussion around salary caps. Why, though? Because what does capping people's salaries do? When you say you can only spend $20 million a year on NIL. Well, it's going to limit opportunities. You're going to have fewer jobs for players. You're going to have less money being made by the players. And you'll have fewer guys in the transfer portal. And what does that do? Well, it creates an atmosphere of tampering and illegal communication, which, by the way, is already happening. But now you're saying, well, there's only 2,500 spots in the portal because of the salary cap. So I got this kid, I got Timmy Rivers, the best quarterback in the country, looking for a new spot. Would you guys be interested if he gets in the portal? And that's already happening. But that's what you're doing.
Mm-hmm.
Like you are pushing. I just don't believe that we can be restricting somebody's ability to make money. And then when they make money, get upset that they're making money. Because that's what this feels like to me. It feels like, again, we're hating on rich people. We're hating on, this is the Shedeur Sanders conversation. This is all of that. And I just think it's foolish. NFL cap will not work in college because different conferences make different money in college, where in the NFL, the total is equally divided up. I don't disagree. But it's why they're trying to reform sports media rights.
But again, this argument around salary caps, like, I'm sure at some point salary caps of some variety will be present in college football. I'm sure that'll happen, and we're probably several years from it, but I'm sure it'll take place. But all the people wanting salary caps are the same people who want it to work out for every kid. They want a level playing field. You don't want to talk about, like, what you want to do is you want to remove Texas Tech's ability to say, okay, Cody Campbell just showed up on the scene. He's feeling invigorated. He's feeling motivated. He's ready to go and wants to spend a bunch of money. Yeah,
look
but
at Byron Brown. Look at
Yeah.
Byron Brown from USF
Byron Brown's
today.
a great example, dude.
He is following Alex Golish to Auburn. Announced 20 minutes ago that he is going to Auburn to be their quarterback. Should we restrict his ability to do that? I mean, we can't have him making money and move because no, the answer is no. No, we shouldn't be restricting people's ability to move, in my opinion. Two hands on the altar where wear your Daisy Dukes and have lollipops in your mouth. That would be classic. Whoa. Whoa, whoa, whoa. King of Thailand getting a little crazy. These kids are constantly hopping around in the portal, going to hate it when they have to sign a contract in the NFL and not be able to move when not being played or not liking a coach. I don't even think that's the case. I think what I believe is kids will stay in college longer because you look at Brendan Sorsby, he's making more money than Shedeur Sanders. Sorsby's at $5 million. Sanders is making 4.6 over the life of his contract. Sorsby will make more in 1 year than Shedeur in 5 years. It's outrageous. No, it's not. It's what we call capitalism. And I'm a huge fan of it.
Yeah.
You know, that image is getting me all bricked up. Do it, James. Wow. Okay. The awkward guy. I watched the FCS game yesterday. It was amazing. That was a great football game. The Chad Carter. Oops, realized I was 5 minutes behind the live. LOL. Fail. Be better.
Amateur.
Be better. You know. The eye patch. Take the education part out of it, and it's great for college football. And yeah. TCU James. Well, Haas Henschy went to Colorado State.
Why?
Why are you obsessing over Oklahoma State? What is it with you and Oak State? Like, I don't understand it. Yeah, you're a TCU guy. You know, you're all over that semen demon at TCU. I don't understand why you're okay. For G6 teams, Colorado State has great facilities that nobody cares about. You know, Henji, the savior of Oak State, who never got to walk on water for them, goes to Colorado. Yeah, remember, that's another, TCU James kill shot.
Oh, Haas. Big Haas. That's my guy. He's going deep, boys. Oh, yeah. What do you mean he transferred? It's Haas left me?
What happened? Oh, he hurt his foot, Monty.
Okay.
The old injury example, right? Norge, good morning. How many kids are jumping into the portal due to roster limitations? I would think not many. I think kids want to try and get paid and they want more opportunity. Well, and obviously facilities. Yes, some are being pushed out by the team due to roster limitations, so they jump into the portal. I think it's probably 10%, 5%. I mean, Kenny Dillingham has talked openly about this.
I knew today would be shitty.
Hey, Jimmy, we're bringing in Rex. He's a better safety. Get the hell out. And again, amongst the conversations that most adults don't want to have is every good football program cuts the bottom 25% of their roster every single year. You don't want those kids on your team because the bottom 25% are not regular contributors.
But we don't want to say that because that means it didn't work out for them. And man, how could we do that to a kid?
Can't say that out. What do you mean it didn't work? Yeah, it didn't work out. Right? Like, and we got to talk about Deion Sanders in a few minutes anyway, but it's Louis. I'm bringing my boys and it's Louis. That's how the game is played. Yeah. Welcome to the nightmare. How would you even regulate 2,500 kids? What are they expecting? A lottery style system? Nope. Sorry, player X, you missed the cut. I think a salary cap is the only way to do it if you truly think you need to limit people. But I love that 25 to 35% of teams are gone every year, and I hope we don't change that. Caleb Aylmore. Hello, Caleb. I'm cautiously optimistic for this season for Oklahoma State. Gundy would have never got a QB paid to transfer like we just did. 100%. 100%. I think that Oak State has clearly started moving in the right direction. I think the fan base and the donor base is woefully inactive at Oak State right now. I hear that repeatedly. You're not engaged. You're not plugged in. The money is not what it once could have been. And I don't know that you recover from that.
Yeah.
I really don't. So, James draped in orange now. Yeah, apparently James wants to. You're a TCU fan, dude. Was it the My Pillow guy? Oh my goodness, is he still? Is he dead or alive? My Pillow guy.
Don't know.
Tell you. Don't know. I think he's alive. Big Pontiff. It's made the team Blue Bloods more relevant. The term Blue Bloods more relevant. Teams with that family money are able to cherry pick players. Absolutely. 100%. Mike Smith. College football just needs binding contracts between players and teams. Well, and we have that. Absolutely. I think you're seeing kids signing contracts, and you look at Ole Miss with Trinidad Chambliss, who's petitioning the NCAA for another year on an injury waiver. Who's paying that legal bill? Contractually, Ole Miss is paying the legal bill. Kawan Lacey going back under contract with Ole Miss. That's the way the business is done now. That's how you limit kids transferring. This isn't about kids. Why did the NFL go to salary caps? To have parity amongst teams. But in college, you don't get parity with a salary cap. You don't. Because the motivations are different. I look at the Big 12. There's 3 schools in the Big 12, in my opinion, that really want to win championships. And when I say want to win championships, are doing what's required to win championships.
Yeah.
And
Agreed.
I think that's the problem in the Big 12. TCU's not doing everything they can. Baylor certainly is not. Oak State's not. I mean, you look at the dregs of the Big 12. The absolute disgrace of the Big 12 the last several years has been UCF, who had an opportunity, who had captured imaginations and has done nothing. The worst add to that conference, UCF. BYU, if BYU's the best add, I think we would all agree. But Houston's moving in the right direction. Cincinnati had a revelation. But do we all think that Cincinnati is going to compete regularly for a conference championship over the next 5 years? Because I don't.
No.
Houston won't. Baylor won't. TCU won't. Will Utah? Yes. Will BYU? Yes. Will Texas Tech? Yes. Will K-State? Probably not. Kansas?
Iowa State?
Probably not. Iowa State's got like 4 guys left, and it's the Water Boys. Like that's remarkable how many dudes have bailed on Ames. Wild. Chuck Cooper, how was Stanford Bridge? Well, the place was great. The performance was not great. Thankfully, we hired a new coach today. But I'm so frustrated with Chelsea right now. Ugh. It is incredibly frustrating to me. Incredibly frustrating. But this is my argument about the Big 12, and I continue to say this. I think the Big 12 is a dying conference.
How could it not be? I mean, how can it be described as a conference that's thriving or moving in the right direction? I mean, you everything from Witt moving on to Josh Hoover moving on to Kenny Dillingham at one point looking for the Michigan job, but then that didn't work out or whatever. Like it's just turned into an elevated level of what the G5 goes through.
Yes.
A conference that operates and tells you they're trying to be one of the best in the country, but only has like 1 or 2 teams that are actually trying. And the rest of the conference is full of schools who are, ultimately just sort of sifter schools. Kids go there, they get cleaned out by the SEC and the Big Ten, and very rarely, but occasionally the ACC, and what's troubling is that the Big 12 has the ability from a brand perspective to be more relevant. They could be a 5 to 7 team league if they really wanted to. Like, you have big enough brands to do that. Like, you're not dealing with Virginia You're not dealing with Duke. Like you have
Virginia Tech right now is in a better position than anybody but BYU, Utah, and Texas Tech. Virginia Tech is more competitive than everybody but those three schools in the Big 12. It's embarrassing. It is, and it's why I think Baylor, Oak State, K-State, certainly, you guys are disgraceful. There's no excuse for just how bad Oklahoma State has been. You can't win a conference game for multiple years in a row. It's a disgrace to be UCF. You are a disgrace. You are an embarrassment. Baylor is a disgrace. You are a college football disgrace in Waco. How do you explain it? Are you telling me you don't have the bread? That can't be true. You kept Dave Aranda because you didn't want to compete for your job couldn't compete. You didn't think you could hire a better option than Dave fucking Aranda. Are you out of your mind? And we're sitting here talking, and we're sitting here, and people are vilifying Texas Tech. Are you out of your mind?
Yeah, that's the problem. That's the problem. And again, I will maintain that I think Brett Yormark is the second best commissioner in college football behind Darth Sankey. And I think that the Big 12 is a case of just loads of potential, just unrealized. And it's really
Who do you think what is the worst college football program in the Big 12?
UCF.
If you could
UCF.
pick one, you think it's UCF?
I think it's UCF because UCF isn't even trying with like hiring Scott Frost and just the way they go about it. I mean, at least at Baylor, you're like, well, like you're terrible. You suck. You're awful. Like you're not relevant. Like you just no respect. But at least there you can say, well, at least they can lie and say they wanted to keep Dave because they wanted to put money elsewhere. And then
it was another scandal. Another scandal.
They can kind of spin it a little bit. But like I just think that UCF is the worst of the worst. You're not trying. You're just not. You're not that guy, pal. And the problem is that again, you're losing talent. You're losing more talent than you're gaining in the Big 12, both in the coaching ranks and in the player ranks. And that's what you should be concerned about, is that you have this dominant basketball brand as a conference, the best basketball conference in the country now by most people. I've heard multiple announcers, multiple analysts say
I agree with that 100%.
Yeah, like the Big 12 this year is the best basketball conference, but now you're still a one team league in the CFP, and there's not much hope, honestly, of being a 2-bid league because again, as awesome as BYU's ascension has been, I need to see what you're going to do now after Jay Hill has left. I need to see what you're going to do. Like, again, we disagree on Bear Bachmeier's development and like what his top end is and all that, but let's see how that turns out, because if it doesn't turn out, that's a big problem for you. Now you have questions at DC. What wait.
It's this right here. It's this kind of naivete right here. This is so not true. This is absolutely not true. You know when the Big 12 started dying? When schools stopped spending money. You have the best commissioner in college athletics is Brett Yormark, current commissioner of the Big 12. He's only as good as his administrators. It's as simple as that. He's got 3 universities who will step over dead bodies to win a college football game. But the problem is, this conference started dying when Baylor refused to spend money on football. Scott Drew is dying on the vine at Baylor basketball. How on earth is Baylor getting wrecked by BYU in recruiting? Let this sink in. The best player in the country, obviously in the conference by default, is at BYU. AJ DeBance is the best player in the conference and in the country. BYU is now putting quarterbacks at the top of the NFL draft, and they're about to have the number one player in the NBA draft. Where's TCU? Where's Baylor? Where's UCF? Where's Houston? Like, the state of Texas is an absolute disgrace in this conference. Do you understand how ridiculous it would have sounded 3 years ago to say Texas Tech is the model for building a college football program? Do you understand?
Yeah.
It's wild to me that you have been left behind by Texas Tech. The Utah, who you hate having in this conference, is doing things exponentially better than your blue bloods. This conference didn't die when Texas and Oklahoma left. It was certainly a loss. Nobody argues that. This conference died the day that most of these administrators made the decision not to do everything they could do to win every single day of college football. That's when this conference started dying. Don't give me this nonsense about Texas and Oklahoma. If Baylor was spending the money and hiring the people instead of being an absolute scandal factory with disgraceful performances, we wouldn't be having this conversation.
Yeah.
If TCU would move on from Sonny Dykes, if K-State would understand that getting your quarterback isn't a quarterback, he's a running back. You don't have the talent in place, right? If lie told would start telling the truth and doing everything you need to do, are we just waiting to finish building the stadium? Because you're not improving right now. What in the world is Iowa State doing? Oh, well, Brock Purdy's in the NFL, Marty. Who cares? Rocco Becht is at Penn State. We've got to stop living in the past and believing, oh, history and tradition, Monty. We've got history and tradition, Monty. No, you don't. Nobody cares about Barry Sanders at Oak State. Oklahoma State's an embarrassing program. You've got Ole Miss willing to pay legal fees for a kid to try and get an extra year of eligibility, and he's already under contract. What are you doing? Oh, Hoss Hanji, Monty. Please. Rock and Rant, hello. It's a choice. Virginia started spending money, and look what happened for them in 1 year. At least it was a step.
Yeah.
And we're really close now with the ACC. If Miami wins this game, how are you going to argue that the ACC is not doing a better job putting out college football programs? Because BYU's a cool story. Utah's resurgence this year, cool story. How'd they do in the college football playoff? Oh, wait. Arguably the best defense in the country with no quarterback. How'd Texas Tech do in the... Oh, you're a jerk for saying that. Baron Martin's the ceiling. How'd that work out, Texas Tech fan?
Oh.
You just went and spent $5 million on fucking Brendan Sorsby. That's how it worked out. Like, I'm just telling you, the ACC, James Franklin, for everything he wasn't at Penn State, boy, he's got some folks excited in Blacksburg. Because Virginia Tech's a better program than just about anybody else in this conference in the Big 12 right now.
Yep.
Miami's going to get their quarterback. And they're probably limited. Their ceiling certainly is Carson Beck. But look how much look at Desmond Bain. He's probably going to be a top 5 pick in the NFL draft. Like, you can't argue anymore that the Big 12 is in real trouble. Just tell the truth about it. Tell the truth. Trinidad Chambliss is proof that the portal is good for college football, both from a fan perspective and from a developmental perspective. The small school talent is getting a chance to shine. Credit Lane Kiffin. Osterman, good morning. What's up, Dustin? The Big 12 is the redheaded stepchild to the SEC, Big 10, and ACC in football. I wouldn't go that far. Nothing's lost at this point. Nothing's lost. But as long as Oak State and TCU and Baylor just choose not to compete, this conference is dead.
Yep. Just limiting your options.
Until Houston, and again, is Houston willing to spend? Because we're at a position now where, I mean, Houston's on the clock, man.
But you're talking about Houston having to win on the football field for your conference to have a reasonable shot or reputation. I mean, that's just not a good place to be.
But if you can get multiple teams to 9, 10 wins, get 5 teams to 10 wins. What would that mean? If you look at on a regular basis, year in and year out, if I said to you, man, I've got Texas Tech, BYU, Utah, and Houston, because Houston won, I think, 10 games this year. If those teams win 10 games every year for the next 5 years and nobody else moves up, what good is it?
Mm-hmm.
How can I ask, how on earth are the Arizona schools outperforming the West Virginias, the Oak States, the Baylors, the TCUs, the K-States? Do you understand that both the Arizona schools, 8-5 in a down year in Tempe, 9-4 in Tucson? How? How is that possible in this league? I have no idea. The very fact, and I don't even, I think Texas Tech is, call them a new boy, because this ain't the same old Texas Tech that we've ever known.
No, it's not. No.
How are the new boys dominating this league?
Yeah, well, because I just think that there's opportunity, right? There's a void.
Yeah, but Daniel, is this true? Because I don't agree with this. I think you could if you wanted to. You just don't want to. How is Utah doing what they're doing? How did they have the bounce back year that they had? Transfer portal, dramatic changes on the coaching staff, and they spent money. Look at Notre Dame going after Daly. Did anybody notice that? Yeah. Maybe Notre Dame's a great example of this conversation, because I'm just going to continue to tell you that Notre Dame is flawed as they are. And my God, please, if you're listening to me, take Marcus to the NFL. Notre Dame is doing everything it can do to win games. And I think our head coach is horribly flawed. They're doing everything they can do to win games. And when we start looking at this idea of a guy like Daly leaving Utah and going to Notre Dame, that's a horrendous loss for this conference. That's a number 1 sack guy in the country. And he's going to end up at Notre Dame. Right? That's the biggest issue. And you look at somebody like Austin Simmons now. You know, it's going to wind up at Missouri. You look at the moves that are being made. Byron Brown going from USF to Auburn this morning, huge move. And where's the huge win for the Big 12? Where's Baylor's all out doing all we can do to win? Well, John Henry Daly, is John Henry Daly going to Texas Tech? Is he going to Michigan? No, probably not. He's he's leaving the conference and he's going to Notre Dame. That's the kind of stuff it's those losses that you can't possibly comprehend how difficult it is to find a guy like Daly. It's wild. No, they won't, my guy. No, they don't have NIL money. And if they do, why are they not spending it? And this is what that disgrace in Stillwater just does not understand. Texas Tech, bro. Is this an Oak State billboard in Times Square? You guys paid Brendan Sorsby $5 million to go to Stillwater? Oh no, that's a Texas. You're getting beat by Lubbock, Texas.
Oh.
It's rough.
If you have the money, why are you not spending it? Why are you not spending it? And
the ultimate question.
Again, I just say, cool. So you got your quarterback. Was he ever going anywhere else? Probably not. Oh, wait, that's right. He took other visits and then stayed with his previous head coach who went to Oak State. So he went to Oak State. Let's not make an Oak State fan. I understand it. I totally understand it. You want to feel good about something because you got nothing. There's no cookie jar. God, dude, you make me crazy. There's no cookie. It's North Texas. There's no cookie jar. You really think you're spending big money? You're believing this. Oak State just raided North Texas cookie jar, but the Cowboys don't have any money. That's not spending money. You really think that you're spending money? You're out of your mind, dude. You're out of your mind. You're out of your mind. Yeah. West Virginia has made the commitment to change and do better. They're just going through pretty much a complete rebuild with Rich Rod, but they are spending money like they have not before. West Virginia, now you got to win games. Rock and Rant, the ACC has done two things right in the instant replay system, and now the success initiative that rewards investment that leads to winning. Well, that's very true. It forces people to make a choice. Big 12 should copy it. Absolutely. And they are. They are. You have to do that. Yeah. Who cares if he's getting $3 million? So let me get this right. You are one of the least talented rosters in the entirety of college football at Oak State. And I don't even know why you're talking about Oak State as a TCU fan. You should probably mind your own business, water your own grass. Do you really think paying your quarterback from North Texas $3 million is like a bozo button? This is a good thing? He played at North Texas. You're talking about coming into a league with multiple defenses that are significantly better than the entirety in combination of defenses he's ever played against. Does that mean he sucks? No. But you're sitting here bragging that I don't know what this
cookie
is.
Jar.
That a team that you're not a fan of paid a quarterback from North or raided the cookie jar for $3 million. And we're supposed to believe that paying a guy from North Texas $3 million is somehow a game changer when you can't tackle. You don't have an offensive line, which has just gotten run through like you're America's best porn star. You're just yeah. Randy Riding, and just like that, TCU James is back, raided the cookie jar. Right? To be fair to James, and I'm sure you will argue against it, they are spending money on a QB now that they never would have before. It's a small start for some, but a huge leap for Oak State. I don't disagree with that.
I don't disagree to start, but the assertion that they're raiding the cookie jar in Texas and just spending all this money and going crazy is just factually inaccurate. That's not true. They're not spending $20-30 million a year on their roster, bro. That's not happening. So yeah, you got a quarterback, and that's and that's great. But I just, like, Messemeyer's a nice quarterback. He was in demand for some other schools. He took some visits.
Yeah.
But like, everyone wants to say, oh, well, like I see on Twitter all the time when people are talking about Messemeyer, well, gosh, like this guy was, interested in Indiana. Like, he was interested in some other Big Ten schools and had an ACC offer allegedly. And he chose to go to Oklahoma State because they paid him $3 million. And then what did those other schools do? Oh, I don't know. They just went and got a guy who's miles better than him in Josh Hoover. Like, you're trying to, the issue is not whether or not Oklahoma State has spent some money. They've spent some money on their quarterback, yes. But they're not out here raiding the cookie jar in Texas and just raining down money.
Texas,
and
you're proud that you went and spent money to get the quarterback from North Texas. What happened to Sam Levitt? What happened to Brendan Sorsby? What happened to any of the dudes that are available? So, here we go. No, I'm not going to do the voice.
Oh, here, let me help you.
You complain that Oak State isn't spending money. That's not what I said. Then when they do, it's not a good thing. It's not what I said. Other schools wanted Mestmeyer, including Indiana.
Yeah, there we go. See, there's the Indiana reference.
Well, Indiana may have wanted, they didn't offer because they got Josh Hoover. So,
who again is a better quarterback.
I listen, Larry Bud.
Problem,
listen,
bro.
Larry Bud Melman. I'm just telling you now, like, at some point, James, you're going to begin to understand. Oklahoma State, until they win this conference consistently, is a joke. They're a joke. When you hang on to a guy like Mike Gundy, who I told you for 3 years should have been fired.
I'm a man.
This program was heading in the wrong direction for years, and you did nothing about it. You sat on this show and defended him and fought for him, and he's the best coach ever, and our offensive line and our wide receiver
He
room.
took a pay cut.
Zane Flores, Hoss Hengy, your mom. Have you ever been right about Oak State one time in your entire life?
So get your facts straight.
Is your cookie jar going to win more games? Yeah, but it's difficult to lose more games than they have because they've lost every game.
How'd Josh Ford work out for you?
Best tight end anybody's ever seen from a fire crotch. I am telling you now, Oklahoma State is in a better place than they have been. Mainly because Mike Gundy's not the head coach anymore.
Where are we at in society today?
But you better come around to the fact that Oklahoma State is not competitive at the top of college football, and they likely never will be. Not in the current incarnation of college football, because it requires you to spend torrid amounts of money. It requires you to do billboards and I don't see any cookie jars here. Like I thought I would see a cookie jar that's got the North Texas logo on it. It requires you to put up billboards in Times Square. You don't have T-Boone's dead. Just as a breaking news, you say this every year, and every year your favorite quarterback at SMU winds up at Northwestern. We'll see what happens in September. The Cowboys will be better. Why is he talking about Gundy? He was fired last year because you sat here and deep-throated him for years. And years and years and years. Because I'm just telling you, Oklahoma State, certainly just by firing Mike Gundy, is in a better place. Because Mike Gundy was awful.
Yeah.
That doesn't mean you're good. No, they're not. No, this is a complete fallacy. This is completely untrue. Not true. You don't have a donor base. You do not have, you are not top half of the conference in donor base. The University of Utah runs circles around you in donor base.
Which, again, if we're just talking about the Big 12, I think Utah is also a huge question mark now. I mean, everyone thinks that Scally is just going to have this team right back at the top of the league, but I'm convinced he'll have a dominant defense, but the offense, I think, is more of a question mark under him than it was under Witt.
Well, Sam Levitt was at LSU yesterday, and we'll see. I haven't seen an update on how that visit went, but it appears he was never in play at Texas Tech, who, again, you spent $5 million on a quarterback that's going to be interesting. So I think it's going to be very interesting to see what happens with LSU and Sam Levitt. And it's really going to be important. Really, really going to be important that they get him, because did you guys see Kenny Minchie flip to Kentucky? I am amazed by that. I am. And this is my point about the dregs of the Big 12, like Oak State. You're getting outspent by Kentucky football. I said you're getting outspent. Kenny Minchie. Do you guys understand? Kentucky has contended and tried to get the very best quarterbacks on the market. And Kenny Minchie was committed to Nebraska, allegedly. And then Kentucky swooped in and threw the Brinks truck at him. And he's now in Lexington. Who are you competing for? Who are you competing for? Anybody in this conference? Because I'm telling you, BYU, Texas Tech, Utah, they're spending money and they're trying to get the best talent. And BYU and Utah got raided by Kyle Whittingham going to Michigan. And Morgan Scally, I agree with you, Jake. I think he's a huge question mark.
Yep.
I think he is a huge question mark. Does that mean that Utah is going to completely fall off the face of the earth? No. You still have a really good quarterback.
No, but if we're talking about the Big 12 success rate, having Utah be a question mark is not ideal. I mean, even with them not reaching the heights that we all kind of thought they would, they were still a team that was in the CFP conversation deep into the year, right? I mean, they were relevant. And I don't know, man. I just think this is the Oak State, TCU Horny James philosophy is the exact problem we've been discussing all morning, which is like, it's like saying, oh, you bought this $100,000 car, but you live in a 800 square foot apartment that costs you $800 a month
with no garage.
With no garage, and you're parking it outside.
You're parking your Aventador under a carport.
Yeah, like it's just
next to Oak State James's Japo shitbox Honda Civic.
That's got a cookie jar as a little ornament on his dashboard. Like it's just great. You got a quarterback, dude. That doesn't mean you're winning ball games. That means that you're able to say, yeah, we committed $3 million to Buddy, and we're still trying to figure it out. Like, don't sugarcoat it, man. Like, and by the way, again, let me just keep holding you accountable since you quit on your team. You're a TCU fan. Why do you give a damn about Oak State anymore? Like, your picture is TCU. You got the shirt on, the flag. Here, let me remind you. Let me remind you what you've done since we're talking about cars. Bro, this is your car right here. TCU. All in the window, dude. Not Oklahoma State. TCU.
Don't forget the sticker on the mirror and the gas tank.
Yeah. So like, I don't get it, dude. Like, what the obsession? Like, you need to be accountable to the fact that your team went in the crapper and you immediately shifted to TCU and they're in the crapper now. So what's next?
Tell the truth. He killed
Oak State James, killing TCU and Oak State, and Preston Stone's cock. You know. Oak State James, the killer of once never great programs. Barry Sanders is dead.
Schemers trying to control their little world.
Come on. Dude.
I love what Tech is doing. They are playing to win the big boys. However, the whole New York Times Square advert with the new QB seems kind of silly to me. But it's what you do to separate yourself. If you're trying to build a sundae, you can't have a sundae without the cherry on top. And that's what the billboard is.
Yes.
I love it. Monty bagging on Big 12 legacy teams. Well, you better hope Matt Morgan bags on them too, because he's got a lot to prove. James used to throat slam Gundy.
No, you got to do it in the voice.
He's throat slammed him. He's Jake's Dan slamming. Deep throat that thing, boy. Look at that cucumber. Who needs an eggplant when you've got Oak State James?
More than JE2S throat slams the Danimal. James has Ollie run those stairs yet? Good question. Rock and rant. The funny thing is that digital billboard in Times Square is actually not that expensive to buy a spot on relatively. It was a small investment for massive social media impact that builds brands. Why doesn't everybody do it then?
Because they're not smart enough. They're not innovative enough.
I would agree. Lamont Tucker. He likes Kyle Whittingham. Respectfully, Oak State has been going downhill.
Not respectfully. No. Take respectfully out. Just leave that out, dude. Just start with Oak State. There's no respect here.
I would agree. Disrespectfully, Oak State has been going downhill since y'all got Alan Bowman. Sorry, James.
Because it's garbage.
But Monty, Zane Flores, my God, this kid, I was, I don't want to be grotesque.
You gotta get stroked.
I was meat gazing on Zane Flores, and let me tell you something, boys. Medium rare's an understatement. Look at that driver. Oh, my God. Oh, Rory. I mean, Zane. Oh, Zane.
Bro.
My forearm's so tired already today.
Is that why you stay in bed till noon, bro? You're recovering?
Bro, I'm all burned out by 6 a.m. I don't even know what to do with that vest, Jake. Oh, unzip it just a little for me, big boy.
I do it every time.
Oh.
Oh no, you didn't freeze on that, bro? Seriously? No. No. No way. No way. Oh man. Damn. He froze on that one. Let's buy some time here. What else we got? Eye patch? Yes. Yes. That's exactly what I'm saying.
Hello?
There
Bro.
You are. You're alive.
What on earth is happening? What was that?
Frozen. I don't know, man.
Dude. Whatever.
I don't know.
Bizarro land. Okay. This is the life. Do you guys know I have I was frozen is what you're saying.
Yes.
I was frozen.
Yeah.
Because I just see the screen just goes black for me.
Yeah,
you were
frozen.
goes black.
Yeah, you were just frozen and couldn't hear you. I was about to read the eye patches comment about Utah not having an offense again for the 16th season in a row, and then you pop back in.
James put a curse on Monty's naughty face. Yes, he did. The demon deacon at work. Yeah, there you go. It's so frustrating to me. It is so frustrating to me that I pay all this money for internet and just can't get it right. Jay, does Uncle Monty want to build a snowman? I guess. I don't know. Richard. Hello? Oh, boy.
Hello. I can hear you.
We're blinking again. I am telling you this is a StreamYards issue. It's so frustrating. Sam Levitt is waiting to see if Dante Moore goes to the NFL before he decides Oregon is a team to beat. I don't know about that. Why would you take Oregon over LSU? Because remember, and the one thing nobody talks about with Oregon, they've lost both their coordinators. If you're a quarterback, you're chasing Will Stein. You're chasing Will Stein. If it's a StreamYard issue, why does it not do the same thing to Jake? Oh, it does.
Oh, it does. It does. It just depends on the day. So like the blinking thing, and I will. We can't continue to keep having these issues. So we'll figure out a solution here. But the blinking thing is, we were talking about before the show. Like, it just depends on the day. Some days it does it to me. Like, it's been doing it to me today. The freezing thing, I don't understand why that's an issue, because we've dealt with over the years we've been doing the show, we've dealt with spotty internet connections and technical thing. Like, there you go, just blinked on me. But like, I don't know, man. It's just weird. Like, I don't know if like StreamYards, when we came back from break, had put out a bunch of new updates and they try to roll out all these fancy, all these fancy tools and things as creators so that we can use them. But the reality is like, if the main thing isn't working, like what's the point of it? Like, that's the problem, and there are competitors. The StreamYard's advantage is its ease of use. That's the thing.
Yes.
And that's the hard part, is like, there are other ways to do it. There are, but it just is the learning curve and like, implementing it. And like, so it's just kind of a pain in the ass to just flip over to something new, because you got to learn it all.
Yeah. It is really, the internet. I guess I take it for granted. Anyway. All right, let's reset the whole thing. On the Monty Show, as always, we are presented by the Advocates at theadvocates.com. Let's come back and get back into the Texas Tech NIL thing. I see a lot of people joining the show. We're about 8,000 people watching the show right now. So let's come back and reset that. Is Texas Tech doing it right or wrong? And honest to goodness, I do want to have this conversation about the Big 12. Do you guys believe that the Big 12 is in trouble? Are we looking at a situation where the Big 12 is on the verge of irrelevance? Because I think it is. We'll talk about that in 30 seconds after this from the Advocates.
Injured in an accident? You may be entitled to a bigger settlement, up to 3.5 times bigger. Your initial consultation is 100% free, and we don't get paid unless we win your case. No matter the accident, we are here to help. The Advocates will fight for you, because you deserve clarity, you deserve justice, you deserve guidance, you deserve an advocate. Contact us today.
The Advocates at theadvocates.com. And the thing that I always say about the Advocates is that when you look at the Advocates and you understand when do you need an injury attorney? When do you need an injury attorney? On likely the worst day of your life, when you've been in a car accident, when when you've been hurt at work, when you have uncertainty, when you don't know what to do, when you don't the result that you need. That's when you need an attorney. When there's uncertainty, when you're scared. That's what the Advocates are professionals at. They take all of that away from you. Hand them the claims process. They're going to take care of you, because they've not only fought the fight you're about to fight, they've won the fight you're about to fight. That's why you get clear, risk-free advice 24/7, 365 at theadvocates.com. And of course, the best part about all that, you'll never reach into your pocket. It costs you nothing to get that clear, risk-free advice, because you don't pay the Advocates unless and until they win your case at theadvocates.com. Is it sensational to say that the Big 12 is an existential crisis? Is the Big 12 as a football conference fighting for its life?
Yeah, I mean, I think that's accurate. I think that the Big 12 is a conference that, again, should be better, but just isn't. And the state of affairs today is that you're underachieving and you're not making enough money in the CFP on the football field. Now, it does need to be said, in fairness to the conference, that in basketball you're thriving. And you're doing great things in basketball. There's no question about it. Like,
yes,
there's just no doubt about it. You're going to make a ton of money in the tournament this year. There's no question about that. But we all know the truth, which is that the bills are paid in football. And unfortunately, when you're not getting, again, we can put the bracket up or whatever, but when you look at the SEC and the Big Ten and all that, like those conferences are getting 2, 3, 4 teams in and just making substantially more than you are. And the truth is that Miami winning these games and getting deeper into the CFP and Texas Tech not is just it's an example of like where these conferences are at, and that Miami can go out and beat good teams and do things that maybe the Big 12 isn't capable of yet. They don't, like, again, if you don't have a quarterback that can throw the ball to win a game, then are you really that good of a team? Right? Even if you've got one of the most dominant defenses in the country, are you really that good of a team? And that's the problem. Like, we haven't yet seen a complete, in all 3 phases, team come out of the Big 12. Even BYU has flaws. So that's the struggle. So I think that, the Big 12 is fighting for its life. There's just no question about that.
I think that it's a lack of commitment. I don't think it's a financial problem. I just don't buy that. I don't believe that the Big 12 is in a place where they don't have the money to compete, because you're certainly not any worse off than the ACC. Are you making the money that the Big 10 and the SEC is making? No, but you don't need to do that to compete with them. We've seen that. Kenny Dillingham and Arizona State showed you that. BYU this year showed you that. You can win games in the Big 12, but you have to go all in. And TJ, I think TJ Beck, good to see you. What's the difference between what Texas Tech is doing compared to any other school in the Big or the SEC? The only difference is they are one of maybe 2 doing it in the Big 12. And I know firsthand that Utah has spent significantly more money over the last 18 months than they have at any other time in the history of that school to win college football games. And I think when you look at BYU and Texas Tech, I think it's those 3. That's it. Those are the 3 that are willing to do what they're willing to do, because you have a good TV deal. You have the best commissioner in college athletics. And in my opinion, what you don't have is good administrators at all of your universities who are willing to do what has to be done to win games. I look at Michael Crow at Arizona State. He's a terrible administrator. Terrible. Yet he hires a guy in Kenny Dillingham. Was that luck? I have no idea. But he did. And Kenny Dillingham takes them to the next level. Now, he's got to rebuild that program, obviously. But I think it's going to be very difficult for, again, UCF and Houston are probably the 2 best examples. I think Houston very clearly, Willie Fritz is moving in the right direction, but it's plodding and methodical. Now, this year obviously was a huge step forward. There's no question about that. But should we expect Houston to go from 6-3 in conference and 10-3 in totality to 12 to win 2 more games? I mean, maybe, because their losses were Texas Tech, West Virginia, and TCU.
Yeah, see, like, you can't lose the West Virginia and TCU game if you want to win the conference. You can't do that. You want to lose to Texas Tech once and then beat them in the championship game or whatever. But here's the problem. It can't work both ways. We can't sit here and say that, hey, there are a lot of struggling teams, and then be like, well, you played, West Virginia and TCU and lost those games. Like, you got to win those games. Like, that's just the truth.
Where did Houston lose all 3 of its games? At home. All 3 of their losses were at home. And that's a huge problem. They're moving in the right direction. I would have expected Houston, now as we sit here, to be a 1-loss team, and that would have been to Texas Tech.
Yeah.
Didn't work out that way. You cannot lose those games. They will get better. I have no doubt. Big Blue Horses, hello. The 12 is a hoops league until the football starts winning major games consistently and grabs a few natties. Well, I mean, you're talking about a decade to win, quote unquote, a few natties. I mean, you don't need to win national championships. You got to put multiple teams in the college football playoff every year. And those teams have to win games. You've got to win games in the college football playoff. And that did not happen this year. You really, the struggle continues to be your ability to compete at a very high level. And frankly, I just don't see that you have that ability. And when you start looking at this bracket right here, that's rough, dude.
Yes.
When you don't win a game, and the worst part of this is going to be if Indiana boat races Oregon, boy, that's going to suck to be the Big 12.
Yeah,
because it really undercuts the quality of what the season was for Texas Tech. That's what's going to really hurt here. Because what you see here is, well, the ACC, and we got Miami in. Miami's won 2 games, including Ohio State. They won 2 games where they were underdogs. And now they're going up against Ole Miss. And I think they have a really good chance in that game. I think Ole Miss is going to win. But who else? Like, this is another year where the Big 12 is behind the ACC. And the ACC damn near didn't have a team in the tournament.
Yeah. Can we point out the obvious of that graphic too, as far as the Big 12 is concerned? How is it that the G5 has more representation than you do? Can I just point that out?
That hurts.
How does that happen? And
because
that's the indictment.
As good as BYU was, they're Notre Dame. They lost the only 2 games that mattered. And you lost it by a lot. You were never competitive with Texas Tech. And again, Utah, sex with Jake Retzloff, it all happened. Right? It all happened. Because I still maintain BYU is still playing college football today if Jake Retzloff is their quarterback.
So then if we revisit the question from the beginning of the show, maybe if you were willing to pay more money to get better talent, that graphic would look a little bit different. Maybe it would look like Texas Tech and BYU were still playing football. You know, maybe you know, you can stretch goal that to Arizona State, right? Like, you know, Arizona State is obviously sort of a newcomer to the CFP scene, but they've showed they have the ability to get in when all is right in Tempe. So I just think that it's frustrating that in today's modern day of college football, we have to talk about some programs just unwilling to spend the money they need to spend, and that putting the conference in such a terrible position. We shouldn't have to talk about that.
Totally agree. So now BYU was not willing to pay enough. What does that mean?
Yeah, what do you mean?
I don't know what that means. I have no idea what that means. TJ Beck, Baylor and TCU have to start spending as if they are going to be cut, so to speak, from the Big 12. They have 0 excuses for not being a football power. That's exactly right. That's exactly right. Thinking about it more now, the billboard for Texas Tech was also the beginning of their Heisman campaign for Sorsby. It's a really smart play on their part. I think it's a really smart play. Really smart. If they paid more, they would have been in the college football playoff. No, I don't think so. If Jake Retzloff hadn't, parked the car in the wrong garage, so to speak, in the wrong carport, if you will.
The biggest load that we've seen.
Conundrum says, sorry, I'm late. I was sleeping. Shocker.
Man. Wow.
Fantastic game last night. Yes, it was. Yes, it was. The Bashir, yes, 100%. Houston fans need to start packing the stadium. Correct. Houston is just a resume builder, stepping stone for Fritz. He's not 35 years old. Why is this still a conversation? Willie Fritz has done nothing to make people believe that Houston's a stepping stone. I have no idea what the basis for that comment is, because there's no indicator for that. Good teams occasionally lose to lesser teams. Only one undefeated team this year. Notre Dame, Miami, Oregon, Bama, Georgia all have losses to teams they should have beaten.
Well, who's the Oregon loss they should have beaten?
Yeah, I don't know that I would say Oregon's got a loss.
Indiana's looking like the best team in the country, bro.
Yeah, I mean, Oregon losing to Indiana was not surprising. We've talked about this. I think Oregon's a horribly flawed football team. And you're going to, you're going to see it again, because if you can't get Fernando Mendoza off his spot, he's going to chew you up.
Yep.
The way you beat Fernando Mendoza, and Penn State, I think, showed this. The way you beat Fernando Mendoza is you make him move. You make him move. And Jake, I know this probably is upsetting to you and your boy Throat Slammer, but they don't rush the passer very well.
No, I mean their best matchup is when they can win the game in the secondary. There's no doubt. They are not Oregon's, with their roster right now on defense, their idea of playing great defense doesn't include pressuring the quarterback a ton. What they would rather do is disguise what they're doing pre-snap, confuse you, get you to make a mistake, just like they did against Penn State. I think that's a great example of Oregon playing the style of game that they would like to play. The problem is, and again, this is why I said it yesterday, and it'll be my take on Friday, is that I just think Indiana is such a bad matchup for Oregon, because Oregon's not physical up front, and Indiana loves to just beat your ass up front. They love to push you around and build their offensive game plan off of being able to get 3 to 5 yards a carry. And then Fernando Mendoza is going to stand back there, and when your D-line is tired, you're definitely not getting pressure. So he's just going to stand back there, read the defense, and deliver passes. So you wind up taking penalties in the secondary. It's just a vicious cycle they create, and they deserve a lot of credit for that, by the way. It's a lovely game plan. It's a lovely way to go about it on offense. But I just think that Dan Lanning, I love the guy, as everyone knows, but he's got to get to a place in recruiting and with this roster next year where they are bigger up front. He has got to get more size so he can operate at a higher level in the trenches. Because until he does that, they'll be a consistent CFP team. Like, they'll be around. But if you're talking about winning national championships and beating, oh yeah, I do. I think that they're good enough mentality wise. Like, he's a good enough coach to where he can drag a team along into the CFP. But to win a national championship, they're going to have to level up that roster a little bit. And that's like, because again, the excuse last year was, well, we had time off, and that was the excuse. But this year, you haven't had time off now, right? You've played games. Like, you're in theoretically the best position you could be.
Yeah, but I also think that if Oregon loses, Dan Lanning's a huge disappointment. I am a big believer in that. I just think Dan Lanning's a huge. I understand the love of Dan Lanning, the recruitment of Dan Lanning. Dan Lanning has proven nothing. What has Dan Lanning done that the best of the best at Oregon haven't done and done better? Nothing. Hey, we're going to find out who Dan is without Will Stein. I think that's a certainty, because if you don't get Bo Nix to do what he did, and who built Bo Nix? Will Stein did. Dante Moore, Will Stein's responsible for that. So a year from now, we're going to have a better understanding of who Dan Lanning is.
Yeah, I think the difference is that that's not a knock on Dan for me. I think Dan is responsible for helping Will Stein ascend to where he is now. And
what is Dan Lanning? What has Dan Lanning done?
What do you mean? What has he done? What has he won? He's worked with. Well, he hasn't won enough in the CFP, but he's won the Big Ten, right? Didn't he win the Big Ten last year? Am I misremembering that? Didn't they were 13-0? I believe. Yeah,
they had a bye, and then he got blown out of the college football playoff.
Yeah, so
much like Ohio State did this year.
Yeah, so I mean, for me, it's Dan is doing everything they want him to do in Eugene, but I think that the national championship conversation looms. It's a dark cloud over his head right now as a head coach, and there's no getting away from that. And all jokes aside, like, yes, I like Dan Lanning a lot. Yes, I think he's doing a really solid job. But now, as you walk down the path and you continue to get bounced year after year, and you continue to be in this place where you are getting to the CFP, but you're not winning. You're not winning these big games. you're starting to build a reputation for yourself as a head coach. So again, like you can't escape that. That's the other side of the coin. Oh, Dan's getting to the CFP. Dan's doing all these great things. Will Stein, like, oh man, everything's amazing. But then you are getting there consistently and you're losing, which I'm sorry. Are we talking Dan Lanning or are we talking James Franklin?
But is Dan Lanning really won big games?
Yeah, I mean, I think that Dan has won, certainly. Penn State was a big game at the time. He has not won enough in the
regular
CFP.
Season. That's regular
still
season.
A big game, dude. If you lose that game, you're hurting. You're not getting into the CFP. We can't just discount the ability to get into the CFP with regularity.
Yeah, I think we're in a position with the Big Ten where we have a lot of reputations. We don't have a lot of performance. And I think that's something. I think Kyle Whittingham has to win games at Michigan. That's huge.
Yeah.
I think when you look at Dan, I think when you look at Lincoln Riley, what's the difference between Lincoln Riley and Dan Lanning?
That Dan Lanning's in the CFP and Lincoln's not.
Well, that's a very good point. That's the only difference. He's getting there. He's not winning games.
Yes,
so,
I completely agree. See, this is the thing. Like, we joke about how I feel about Dan, but we actually agree on where Dan is at. Like, he needs to win more in the CFP. And that's how I think we define coaches now is there's the guy that doesn't make the CFP, but is like building his program. Then there's the guy that makes the CFP, but doesn't win in the CFP, which is Dan Lanning.
Yeah.
And then there's the guy that's at the top of the coaching ranks and is only concerned about national championships and is not getting it done enough, which would be most recently, that was Ryan Day. I don't think we have another guy like that right now. I think people are pretty in agreement that Kirby Smart's a pretty damn good football coach, we're waiting for that, and again, I would also mention Lane Kiffin. Lane Kiffin needs to win. Like, there's no ifs, ands, or buts about it. Natty or bust, dude. Like, that's the reality.
Yeah, I think everybody needs to win. I mean, Lane Kiffin at LSU has a lot of pressure. I would agree with that. And I think that we can sit here and try to sugarcoat stuff, but there is no sugarcoating it. I think that we have to find a way to, everybody's got to find a way to win games, but okay, cool. What's the difference between what Oregon did and what Texas Tech did? Like Baron Morton, I will just continue to tell you this. Baron Morton was always going to be the ceiling. Baron Morton was significantly mediocre. Like, we can keep talking about Texas Tech and defense. Their defense is elite. Baron Morton was mediocre. He's not. Baron Morton is never the guy you want quarterbacking your team, especially on the road, but never the guy you want quarterbacking your team in a big game. So we can sit here and say, oh, Baron Morton, amazing, and they would have buried them and ended souls and their balls would have been left on the wall. Like, okay, cool. But who knows what you do with Baron Morton, and who knows how he would have played in that game.
Would you categorize the Oregon Texas Tech game, just generally speaking, as a big game? Does that qualify as a big game, or is that just like you know?
It's a playoff game.
Yeah, like I have that as a big game, and I think that's a really quality win, because there are a lot of people who thought Texas Tech was going to give Oregon a pretty strong game.
I think we like to tell these stories about, well, it's Texas Tech. It doesn't matter. It's a playoff game. It doesn't matter. And we keep going round and round about these ideas of easy versus hard. The only one that can complain easy versus hard is Ohio State, who had the most difficult path through a national championship ever.
Yeah.
And dominated. So it really is to me, it's a college football playoff game. It's a big game. It matters if you win or lose, right? There's money and legacy on the line there. Dan Lanning, to this point, has been a disappointment at Oregon, in my opinion, because he's had opportunities to win much bigger games than Texas Tech.
Agreed.
And he hasn't done it.
Yeah.
And in my opinion, you have got this game. You have got to win this game against Indiana. And I don't think they're going to.
No,
because if you allow Fernando Mendoza to stand on his spot, and I have said this repeatedly, I think Fernando Mendoza is an elite college quarterback who's going to really struggle at the next level, because he's bad when you get him moving outside the pocket. He's inaccurate and he's high because his mechanics when he's out of the pocket are not good. But the guy will absolutely kill you on his first or second read inside of 17 yards.
Yeah.
It's but Oregon is not built to make him do something other than that.
Yeah, I'm not confident Oregon's within 10 points of Indiana come Saturday. I'm not at all even a little bit confident of that. I think that Indiana performance was outstanding, and I think defensively they were incredibly disciplined, as you would expect, obviously. But everyone keeps saying, well, it's really hard to beat a team twice in the same season. I actually don't think it would be hard for Indiana to beat Oregon twice in the same season, because the matchup really favors them roster to roster, scheme to scheme, philosophically speaking, and it's neutral site. This isn't even in Eugene. So I just sit here and I say, dude, I'd have to look. Do we know what the line even is at this point? I would be
879.
Yeah, I would be Indiana probably by at least a touchdown right now, if not by 10. Really, I would.
I think listen, we can, this is all hyperbole. I mean, we quite literally can sit here and go back and forth about who's what and where. I mean, what is Indiana a 4-point favorite in that game? I think is the line, and I can go look it up, but it's a playoff game. Neither one of those games is going to be outside of 3.5, 4 points. So I don't know. I'm not ripping Dan Lanning. I think Dan Lanning has done a really good job recruiting. He just needs to win. Conundrum. If Texas Tech played Oregon in Eugene, they would have lost 42-0. Nobody's putting 42 points. Stop. You just make ridiculous statements you can't back up. Oregon is jinxed. For as much money as they put in the Ducks and 0 championships, I think they've also had some really mediocre coaches.
Yeah, jinx is an excuse in my opinion, bro. Just being honest. Dan has everything he needs to win national championships, and that's the bar. There's no doubt.
Paxton, what's up? I thought Cody Campbell wanted to save college football, but yet he's spending like crazy. How is that not him trying to save college football? Which Cody Campbell is not the savior of college football. No, he's not. That's a lie. I tend to like this megaphone. Maybe I'll just talk like this the rest of the show. We're having so many other problems. So many people are texting me right now. What's wrong with your internet connection? Shut up. I know. I'm aware.
Aggressive.
It makes my head hurt. Anyway, Danimal should have no excuses. Dude has Nike money to bankroll his roster. He should be able to get the players he needs to be in every year. Yes, he should.
Couldn't agree more, dude. Could not agree more.
Conundrum, he's there to win and play for championships. If he wasn't, we would... Truth.
I think the narrative around... Dude, the narrative that Kyle Whittingham only went to Michigan to cleanse the program is a farce.
Come on.
Kyle Whittingham went there, yes, partially because his reputation speaks for itself, but make no mistake about it, he is there to win national championships. And
anybody telling you anything different than that? Anybody telling you that Kyle Whittingham's not trying to win at Michigan doesn't know Kyle Whittingham. Kyle Whittingham does not keep anybody's seat warm. That's not how that guy's built.
Yeah.
It just isn't. The whole Nike money thing is wrong. Lots of teams get Nike money. Oregon gets Phil Knight money. I don't disagree with that.
Yeah, the point is dude's got all the resources in the world, bro.
Yeah. Mike Smith, the last Oregon-Indiana matchup was a close game. That great final run by Mendoza was greatness, in my opinion, helped him win the trophy. I think that's absolutely true.
Yeah, maybe so, dude.
That there's no doubt. Roche, hello. Oregon's old coach is finally in the playoff again. What do you mean Oregon's old coach? Talking about Miami?
Cristobal.
Mario Cristobal? Yeah. Just as an academic exercise, rules have changed. What's the difference between Texas Tech spending and SMU spending? BS kin the day. Interesting how NAL brought it full circle. There's no difference. It's just legal now.
Yeah.
It's just legal now. Because it's illegal.
Yeah.
It's legal now. Right? That's,
Because it's illegal.
Here's an interesting question. Will Deion Sanders succeed at Colorado? Because I know how many of you hate Deion Sanders. Here's his new athletic director. With Coach Prime's national notoriety and who he is as a person, first and foremost, and his ability to reach a lot farther than maybe some other coaches might be able to because of who he is. I think it's a real advantage for us. Jake, do you believe Deion Sanders wins a national championship at any point in his coaching career?
No, I don't. I don't think that. Listen, Deion, I like Deion a lot. I like his style. I think that he's a great developer. But to win a national championship at Colorado or otherwise is going to take winning consistently. And when I say winning, I mean winning the conference, like being at the top of the table in the Big 12 for probably like 5 to 7 years at a time. Like getting into a place with that program where you not only can win now, but you have kids that like top end talent, best of the best talent coming to play for you. And that's what it would take to win in the CFP at Colorado. And so I think that Deion needs to decide just how serious he is about winning a national championship and just how seriously he wants to walk that path, because there's nothing wrong with being a football coach being a college football coach at Colorado in the Big 12, enjoying that, working your process, competing, to win as many games as you can, but never really seeing that top end sort of potential that maybe he has. Nothing wrong with that. But if you want to win a national championship, like I would be exploring the Florida State angle. I would be exploring, bigger, higher caliber programs that can give you more opportunity. Because again, the Colorado thing was cool, and it was his first step into big time college football, but there is a higher level yet. So I don't think that national championship and Colorado go together. I think contending for a Big 12 championship potentially, but I have a hard time seeing in today's climate them winning a natty at Colorado.
Yeah, I think you can do it in 1 year. I think that's unlikely at Colorado. I think it's a very interesting change with get these words again from Fernando Lovo, the new athletic director. These are powerful words. These are powerful words. And I think that Coach Prime's got a lot to live up to. I believe in the guy. I know everybody hates him, but Colorado is at a $25 million loss due to NIL and coaches' salaries, and they've made that up, by the way. Prime is a great developer, but he's not sustainable. He's got health issues. Staff isn't top. His staff is one of the best staffs in the country. What do you mean staff isn't top level? He's got a ginormous staff, but again, Prime will win a title when he ends up at FSU.
Yeah, and again, all jokes aside, like that's what it's going to take.
I think he's not. His high school recruiting classes have been phenomenal. Like I think it's a Colorado problem. It's not a Deion Sanders problem.
Mm-hmm.
And I think
again, he's had opportunities, right? Like let's not skip over it. He's had opportunities to go other places and chose not to, mainly because Shador was there and Travis was there, and he really liked his setup and everything. But he chose not to. And again, that's not an indictment on him. I will still maintain that being a college football coach at Colorado is not a bad way to make a living. Like
I would agree.
Not a bad way to make a living, bro. Like that's a lot of fun. You got a lot of celebrities walking around. You're able to do things the way you want to do it, and the expectations aren't to the moon. Like I don't have a problem if dude wants to be there 20 years and be a college football coach. I have no problem with that, but you can't. The problem comes in when you start attaching expectations of Big 12 championships or national championships to that program. That's not what it is, man. That's just not it.
I agree. Totally agree. All right. A few more comments, because obviously I'm getting annoyed with my internet. Monty using dial-up AOL, hilarious.
The fact is he's not actually.
You guys would laugh. I have so much internet. Maybe my Wi-Fi sucks. I have no idea. It is incredibly.
It's not Wi-Fi, bro. It is a software issue that we know what it is. What's frustrating is not being able to fix it. It's not Monty's internet. It's not the computer. It's not the camera. It's very clear what it is. It is the software that we have used for years on this show not working well right now. And the problem is there's not like a cord you can unplug and replug. There's not a It's just one of those things where they're not running at a great clip right now. And so it affects the quality of the show. And what's frustrating is you put a lot of time and effort into this setup to have a really quality look, right? Like everything from great sound to great visuals, drops, internet speeds, compute. Like we got everything that we need to do a great show. And the software is just letting us down the last couple of days. And that's what's frustrating. So it's like, how many days do you deal with it versus when do you start looking at a new software? Because there's not another one on the market. Because trust me, I have looked in every butthole around the internet. There's not another one that is set up the way this is set up to be able to show your comments on the screen, to be able to do the banner stuff we do. Like it's just not a great situation.
No, it's not a common issue. Some days StreamYards is good and some days it is not good. But we'll get to the bottom of it. You can believe that. All right. As always, the Monty Show presented by The Advocates at theadvocates.com. Appreciate you guys watching. Tomorrow, we'll be back and the internet will be fixed, hopefully. And I said, whether it's the internet, whatever it is, we hope. If you get in a wreck, please get to theadvocates.com where you never pay a penny out of pocket, ever. You never scratch a check to the Advocates because you don't pay the Advocates unless and until they win your case. Until tomorrow, say goodbye, Jake.
Goodbye, Jake.